But other than that, I think she's just a repugnant human being in general. The things that she said about other women, the fact that she has not supported other victims in the past and now all of a sudden is latching onto the Epstein victims and using them for her own political gain, I find to be absolutely repulsive.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to A More Perfect Podcast. I am your host, Mike Winson. Today, we have a very, very special guest, a mutual of mine who is well known on the TikTok world. Her name is Jordan the Grey. She is known for her Ren Fair outfits, her witchiness, and all the other things in between. We actually became mutuals because of, what was it? It was a deity named Klamadrov. That was the video that we found that we became mutuals from. So hi, Jordan. Welcome.
Hi, how's it going? Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for being here. When I was thinking about who to bring on here to talk about the craziness that is the United States, I couldn't think of anyone better to bring on than you. I love your content. I love the empathy and the perspective that you bring in your stuff. And I'm looking forward to talking just about your perspective, how you're seeing things, and just about the stuff that's going on right now.
Well, thank you so much. I genuinely, like I said, before we started recording, it still feels so strange when people are like, oh my God, Jordan, I love her. And I'm like, me? Like, it still feels so odd because my channel sort of blew up over the last few years. I've been a creator now this is my third year.
Okay.
And it kind of happened by accident. So I'm still getting used to like people like even knowing who I am.
Yeah.
It's wild. And again, there's no like, I'm insanely grateful. It's a wonderful experience, but I'm still like getting used to that. So Hi guys, hello. But yeah, my channel, it sort of has been just a place to sort of make, man, it's like a community for, the land of misfit toys, the people who, were told their whole life that something was wrong with them or they should be this way or they should be that way. And it's like, no, we shouldn't be any other way than who we are. And genuinely, I just try to be now who I needed when I was younger. Like when I look at myself in the mirror now, I think, damn, we did it. Like we became her. We became the woman that we needed when we were younger for guidance. And so now, like my goal, because people ask, well, what's your goal of your channel? I'm like, well, I want to make sure that young women or young people, anybody who may see my video, if it affects one person, if it changes one person and one person is like, wow, I needed to hear that, that makes me feel so much better about who I am or how I think or how I feel, then I've done my job. Then I've made one person, one individual feel like they aren't alone and that their opinions aren't the outlier. Maybe they're the outlier in whatever little town they're from, but they're not the outlier. There are other people who feel this way. There are other people who, have the same issues that they do, have the same family issues with when it comes to, whether it's belief systems or political views or whatever it may be. There's a lot of people out there that don't have a community, a net, support. And I want to create that with my channel. And I think I have. So I'm like my comment sections, if you've been in my channel and you're familiar with my channel, you know that like my comment sections are going to handle it. Like if I talk about something, they're on it. Like my community is absolutely wonderful. And if you guys are watching, I love you all so much. I absolutely like could not do this without you. Like they are like my little warriors. I love them so much. So if you haven't seen my channel, again, I'm Jordan the Grey Witch on TikTok. You can find me at Jordan the Grey Witch pretty much everywhere. And you'll see like my channel is certainly not for everyone, but the people that it is for, like it's for you.
Absolutely. And by the way, that outfit that you wore for the Ren Fair, wow.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, thank you. Let me show you. I'll show you the corset. Hold on, it's right over here. I love this corset, and I get so much crap for it when I wear it because it's tiny, right? It's a little itty bitty.
It is so tiny. I swear, I saw the video and I said, "How is her lower body holding up her upper body.
So yeah, I know it looks crazy, right? But the reason that I use this one, and this is the corset, mind you, this is like a free little ad for Orchard Corset. It's from Orchard Corset. It's a leather, it's real leather. It's called the Demi Waspy, and it's a demi corset, so it's not a full corset. It only goes over your tummy, which creates a more extreme look, right? And that's intentional. It's not meant to hurt you. If your corset is hurting you, it's either the wrong size or you're wearing it incorrectly. A corset should never hurt. It should be tight like a bra is, but it should never be hurting you. So I see a lot of people see it, and you should never really squish your waist down more than 6 inches. So whatever size your waist is, you're going to order the number of corset that is no less than 6 inches. So my waist is between 25 and 26 inches. This is a 20, okay? This is a 20 inches. So I can squeeze it down to 20. Some girls go down to 18. It just really depends how big you are, right? And you should never be squeezing any more than is making you uncomfortable. But I love wearing them because it always people are like, how are you breathing? And I'm like, just fine, because it only squeezes in the sides. It's not squeezing in the front to back.
Yeah.
There's support there. So I think not a lot of people see it from the side. It just sort of rearranges and again, I've been corset training for years. So it's not just like I slap this on and I'm walking around. Like, you have to train, you have to practice, you have to wear them. And people ask, well, why do you wear it? It's such an antiquated torture device. And my answer is always, my foremothers wore them, and so shall I.
And also you want to. And what
and
else do you need?
They look cool. But yeah, like, the women of the past wore them. So shall I. It made them stronger.
And you know what? Just, for men, just remember, no more than 6 inches less than your waist size if you decide to go that way.
There actually are men's corsets.
There are?
Yes, they're shaped differently. They usually cover the chest, and they're shaped more sort of like a taper this way instead of this way like a woman. But yes, they do make corsets just for men.
I've seen a lot of ads for clothing that is supposed to like do a lot of that stuff, especially in the belly region. But
that's what a corset will do for you. It's actually wonderful for your posture. People see them and they think it's a torture device, but I can relax all day, especially when we're drinking. And the corset supports your back, so you physically can't slump. You're just sitting there and you look like this all day. It's awesome. I really can't recommend them enough.
There you go. Well, there you go. If anyone needs a corset, make sure to follow Jordan and she will help you out. Okay, so obviously there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. And one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about, you've made a lot of stuff, you've made a lot of content about it recently. I've been making a lot of content about it recently. There was just a press conference about it, the Epstein list.
Sure.
I want to go into, I think it was like before the Ren Fair is one of the last videos that you went in, which I think is kind of hilarious. We'll talk about that one in a second. But, I just made one where I was literally just pissed off because I was just like, everyone who's in those files should go to prison, and everyone who's protecting them should also go to prison. As someone who is a female in this country and has to deal with the bullshit of the patriarchy, what did you watch the press conference?
The one with Marjorie Taylor Greene?
Yes. The unfortunate fact
Some
that
of
Marjorie
it.
Taylor
I
Greene,
did.
we were on the same side for.
Well, a broken clock is right twice a day. So, she's up for re-election. I'm not surprised that she changes her tune when it's an election year. When it comes to this, I trust that woman as far as I could kick her.
Sure.
So she is just a bad apple. One look at her stock portfolio will tell you that she is not on your side. But other than that, I think she's just a repugnant human being in general. The things that she said about other women, the fact that she has not supported other victims in the past and now all of a sudden is latching onto the Epstein victims and using them for her own political gain, I find to be absolutely repulsive. I would hope that there was an iota of authenticity inside her, but I just don't believe that. I just don't. And I think that she's doing it for the wrong reasons. I don't think that she actually cares about these victims. And that's my opinion. So like I've not seen anything good from that particular person. So like I can't imagine all of a sudden she's had a change of heart and cares about women now when she has voted against us and herself.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
In the past.
No, I probably don't trust Marjorie Taylor Greene any farther than I could throw Marjorie Taylor Greene,
Yeah,
which
right.
is
Right.
not very far. So how do you like what's going through your mind as this whole Epstein list, and just for even people that you talk to? Obviously, I personally have tried to talk to women, but I've said this before, as a white man in this country, I can listen. My goal is to listen as much as I want, but I also will never fully understand what it's like to live as a woman in this country. All I can do is do my best to listen and then fight for what I'm hearing. From your
So
perspective, what are you seeing with all of this?
I think in general, what we're seeing right now within the political climate in America is we're reaching ahead. We're reaching what I consider an extinction burst. So we're seeing all of this horrible legislation, these horrible people being upheld seemingly by the dregs of our society. Like the people that are the least educated are the ones that are sort of pile driving this stuff home. And it's like, these are the same people that are going to argue with lawyers about the law, with doctors about medicine. You know what I mean? Like these people have Facebook degrees, okay? They are literally Dunning-Kruger alumni. Like these are the dumbest people you've ever met in your life, and they're going to argue with you until you're blue in the face over something that they don't know what they're even talking about. The do your own research crowd. The thing is that when scientists do research, they're doing research. When you do research, you have to wipe afterwards. Okay? Do you see the difference? Do you see? And they don't see the difference. They don't
Right.
see the difference. They don't
Yeah.
see reading someone else's research as their own. Like that's the difference. So when you're dealing with somebody whose intelligence capacity is much lower than they think it is, it's frustrating. It's, the old saying, you're playing chess with a pigeon.
Yeah.
Right? They're going to shit on the board and act like they won anyway. And that's what it feels like, even having a conversation with people in America when our literacy rate is below a fifth grade level for most Americans. Most Americans read below a fifth grade level. And most of them don't read books at all.
Yeah.
At all. And that's our problem. And because, the more intelligent a country is, the less problems they have, like there's a reason.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but how, so we've got a lot of people obviously that aren't reading, that are uneducated with what's going on, but how does that, because the Epstein list was one of those things that they were pushing for. And while there has been some pushback from some people now that they keep, now that they're hemming and hawing, and Mike Johnson is trying to make us believe that Trump was an FBI informant.
Yeah, and I'm an astronaut.
Yeah, seriously. So where does that put us? Because it just feels kind of like we're just moving the goalposts again.
I mean, sadly, I think this is an answer that I think everyone's going to expect from me. Like, when's it going to end? When are they ever going to wake up? Mm-hmm. Truthfully. And if you look at groupthink mentality, cult behavior, in reality, what we're looking at when it comes to Trumpism and the MAGA, we're not going to see it die until he does. Mm. But cults do not survive after the leader goes. So once he goes, we will see MAGA dissipate. We will see people that I never had a red hat. It's all of a sudden going to be, you remember the end of Inglourious Bastards? I'm going to take it off. That's what's going to happen with this, okay? Now, when it comes to the Epstein stuff with Trump, I mean, the writing's on the wall. An innocent person would not be fighting to keep the files that would vindicate them, that would prove their innocence, private, okay? And in the argument that I'm hearing from a lot of them is, well, there's other people from other countries on there. There's presidents, there's royalty on there. Okay, well, let's I'm sure there are. Let's pretend that's the case, okay? Then what we do is we redact every name that isn't American, okay? And then we send those names to those respective countries and let them handle their citizens the way they should so choose. And we release every American's name on the list.
Absolutely.
That is the solution. But they don't want to do that. They don't want to do that. And we all know why. It's because those rich, powerful people who are addicted to power are paying them not to. Listen, I lived in LA. Do you know how many creepers are out there? Do you know how many pedos are out there? Do you know how many guys are out there that do this? It's way more than you think. Way more.
After the press conference happened, I did a live, and just opened it up to any woman in the chat who wanted to come up and talk about what they thought while watching it and their stories. Some of those stories were absolutely like, I was practically in tears listening to it. That this is even other countries, like the amazing thing that has come from this Epstein list is it's opened up the door from a lot of people, even in other countries, to talk about the issues that they have with these kind of things. We're hearing about, I think it's in Japan, it's either in Japan or Korea, these like underground like rooms that people that the men go into all the time. Everyone
and it's
knows
always
about
men.
it.
And it's always men.
Oh, it's always men. Of course, it's always
It's not
men.
all men, but it's always men.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then they get mad at us for saying that. And it's like 99% of rapists are men.
Yep.
99%.
Yep.
99% of rapists are men. That's a fact. So when we say, hey, we have a problem with this, and they go, oh, women rape too. Women rape too. And it's like, oh yeah, let's worry about the 1%. Okay. I'm not invalidating any victim of any person,
For sure,
regardless of gender. But we know who the predators are. We know this. This isn't up for debate. This is data. So we know this. We know that this is a problem. And anytime we talk about it, we then get attacked by the patriarchy saying, well, it's not all of us. It's not all of us. And that's sort of like hot potato with the blame that these men like to play with us. Doesn't solve the problem. It doesn't solve the problem. If these men attacked patriarchy as much as they attacked women online, we wouldn't have these fucking problems. Excuse me. I know I'm on a podcast, I can say fuck, but even still, I know that we wouldn't have these issues. But the problem is that these same men that are trying to uphold these oppressive systems are still benefiting from them.
sure.
So without those systems, they don't have, they're mediocre.
Yeah.
When all you have is I'm male or I'm white, because that's what essentially is the power play, right? This is all I have. So if you take that away from me and that makes me not special anymore, then what do I have? Exactly, my brother. Go do something with yourself. Be something better.
Yeah.
Improve yourself. What do you want me to do? Like, and I think that's the problem, is their own innate security. And I'm not attacking white men. I'm with a white man, mind you. It's the system of patriarchy. It's the system of white supremacy that's the problem. Okay, those are the systems are the problem. Misogyny is the problem. Okay, those are the issues, and the men take that as when I say fuck the patriarchy, when I say fuck misogynists, they're like, well, what about? What do you mean? Well, why are you offended? If you're not a misogynist, then you shouldn't be offended by that.
Exactly.
Okay? I'm not attacking men. I'm attacking misogyny. I'm attacking patriarchy. I'm attacking homophobia and white supremacy and all the systems that keep the most vulnerable of our population subjugated. We're tired of this. We're tired. Like, that's the whole point, is that now that women have our own rights, we can get our own bank accounts, we can make our own money. Women are now choosing to not get married because they don't have to for our own survival anymore. And men are mad about that. They told us to choose better men, so we stopped choosing them. And they said, well, not like that. Well, don't sleep. Keep your legs closed. Oh, the birth rate plummeted. Well, not like that. It's like, okay, well, that's our point, is that society can't run without women. Society can't run without women's unpaid labor.
Yeah.
Your capitalism doesn't work without all the babies that we make. Okay? So when you tell us to stop doing this, and we stop getting blamed for every issue, which we still are, mind you.
Right. Of course.
When you tell us to do this and we do it, and then you bitch about that too, it's like, well, maybe people would have more babies if we had healthcare, if we had maternity leave and paternity leave like every other developed country.
And cost of
maybe
living.
If we had those things and the mortality rates for infants and mothers weren't sky high in America.
Yeah.
America. Women are still dying in the hospital over babies here. Women are bleeding out, not able to get an abortion because they're miscarrying in parking lots in America. It's sickening.
It drives me absolutely nuts. I can't count how many times I've had to have these arguments. And I can say, just like your partner, I am a man, a white man, and I am as vocal in calling out the bullshit as anybody, as should any white man out here. Because again, if you are listening to the women who are talking about what's going on and you're paying attention and you're having empathy to it, you should care.
Yeah.
You should care.
And if you don't, then that's why you're lonely. That's why there's a
Yeah.
male loneliness epidemic. When you guys are still trying to uphold antiquated systems that subjugate everyone but you, and you don't have a problem with that, or I'm not political. You're not political because you don't have to be. Because politics aren't taking your rights away. So when someone says that to me, oh, I'm not political, I don't talk about politics. Well, you're very privileged then that you don't have to. Like,
Yeah.
you're not like the rest of us who are losing our rights to healthcare, to medical care. To, like, you understand, women in Texas have to drive out of state lines, and now they're trying to track them on
Trying
whether
to
or
make
not
it
they get
illegal to
medical
do
care.
that too. Yeah.
So it was never about freedom. It was always about controlling women, and that's the point. That's what we've been telling you.
Yeah.
If they can't keep up the status quo of supporting capitalism and the prison industrial complex and our military without giving women access to abortions, then those systems do not work. Okay? And that's the problem, is that people aren't signing. That's why we don't have healthcare in America, by the way, just so circling back to that. You know why we don't have affordable housing and healthcare in America? Because those are the two factors that have people signing up for the military. And if people got that, no one would sign up for it. That's why. So the next time someone says, oh, we don't have healthcare in America, it's because of the military, babe. It's, again, it always circles back to patriarchy, capitalism, and white supremacy. Every single problem we have. And if we really want to get into it, all of that goes back to Reagan. But I digress.
Reagan. Reagan, for as much as he said things that sounded really good, he sure did a lot of bad shit.
Well, I think that he and Trump have that in common. At least Reagan was a little more charming.
It is amazing to me how much stuff that Trump says that he just stole from other presidents, mostly Reagan, but he just made he just did one recently where he basically copied Nixon almost word for word in talking about how presidents, because he's the president, everything he says should be okay. Like anything he does should be okay because he's president. Nixon said that.
Out of all the presidents to be quoting, Nixon isn't the
one.
Nixon
is not one of them. That is very true.
What, did Teddy Roosevelt, or he couldn't find anything from JFK? It's sick. I can't wait. I'm telling you right now, I can't wait for that man to die. That big, beautiful obituary. They say not to anticipate someone's death. Fuck
it's
you.
Hard.
I don't
it's
care.
Hard.
I hope that. I can't wait for it to happen.
I know.
I can't wait. Do you understand the parties we're going to have in America when that man croaks?
So many. And that's hard for me as someone who is very much, my brain actively works against myself when I think those kind of things. But I understand there is going to be a part of me, as bad as I will feel about it, about feeling that way. There is a part of me that will be like, I really shouldn't feel this way, but thank you.
When it's someone who has inflicted so much trauma and pain on our country, no, it's different. 100%. It's when he's a dictator at this point.
Yeah.
Like, literally, like
yeah.
I never thought I would see it. And when I remember one of my buddies texted me in 2016, mind you, this is 2016 when Trump won the first time. And he was like, they're coming for Roe. And I remember him saying it. And I thought, you're being an alarmist. They're never taking Roe. We all did. And when I tell you in 22, when they took Roe down with the corrupted Supreme Court that should all be disbarred, mind you, every fucking one of them, when they took Roe is when we knew it was going to get worse. We all knew. We were like, 50 years of legislation gone, 50 years of rights. And what happened? As soon as it happened, every red state started saying, nope, women have to, forcing women to have children. Mind you, I believe it was 26,000 women alone in the state of Texas who gave birth to rapists' babies the year that Roe was overturned because they could not access healthcare. 26,000. 26. And personally, I don't think any rapist DNA should ever be allowed to propagate.
No, that's the crazy part.
Those motherfuckers should be castrated and hung up by their toes in the public square, and I don't care who that offends. If you touch kids or if you rape people, you don't deserve to have the parts you use to do it another day, another second.
Nope.
And if we actually took care of those people like we used to, we wouldn't be in this problem. But instead, we give them the title of CEO or president of our country. Our president is an adjudicated rapist.
Yeah.
An adjudicated rapist is sitting in the White House right now. Do you understand the bile in my throat that I want to throw up even saying that sentence? Do you know what that does to every victim, to every survivor, to see someone who paid his way out of what happened to them, to have what happened to me, that I have to see that motherfucker sitting there. Because when I see him, do you know who I see? Every man that ever hurt me.
Yeah.
That's who I see. And I know that every other survivor feels the exact same way. And I think that was the answer to the question you were asking earlier. But yes.
Yeah.
That's how we feel as women. So when you, and I know that men are victims too. I know that. Men are primarily victims of other men.
Sure.
But men are victims too.
Yeah.
So when the male victims, because society does not treat male victims well either. So I just want to say to you guys, if you're in there and you're listening and you are a male victim, you are valid. Your pain is valid. You are just as valid as the rest of us. And I know that you guys can't come forward like women can't, and women can't come forward either.
Right.
Everyone says that we're a liar. Everyone's, oh, she's making it up for money. When people say that to me, that a victim is making up being raped or being assaulted for fame, let me just ask you, name one person that has garnered fame from being raped or saying that they have been raped. Name one. Name one person by name. I'll wait.
You're not going to get an answer from me.
I can name a lot. I can name a lot of Brock fucking Turners, but no victims. Isn't that amazing? Not even a single one out of all the women that have said they've been raped. Oh, she's doing it for attention. She's doing it for money. What's her name then? No? Then shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's there is a reason why I often say that men have shown that they don't have the capability to run this country with all people in mind, and they need to take a step back for a little while.
Well, I think that like I said, what we're seeing now, I think, is an extinction burst of patriarchy. We are seeing it's squealing, and everything before it dies screams. It's called the death rattle, and I believe that that's truly what we're going through right now. So as intense as this last 20 minutes have been, I just want to say to the listeners, please look at the silver lining. Please look that we are getting towards the end of this. And even though we must go through the dark a little bit longer, there is a silver lining ahead.
Yeah.
We are reaching a point where things are going to change. You have to understand, Trump can't stay in office past 2028. Okay. He's done.
Not to mention the fact that he's 78 and
if he even survives. If he even makes it that long, and let's hope he doesn't. But if he does, after that, I feel confident we're going to get a Democratic president. And when we do, I'm hoping in 29 and 30, we roll back these restrictions. Is that going to be another few years? Yes. Are those few years going to be dark? Yes. And I think that's why people like us, people who have the privilege that we have, stand up and open our wings and protect the ones who don't.
Yeah.
That's our job.
Yeah.
Is to protect them. Sorry.
No need to apologize whatsoever.
But that's what I want to do. I want to protect those people and give those people a community.
Absolutely.
And let them know that trans people matter. They're people.
Absolutely.
They're people. And even if you don't understand why they want to live their life the way that they do, you don't need to understand.
Yeah.
You don't need to understand why someone else is who they are and lives their life the way they do. But they're a human being and they're an American citizen and they have fucking rights just like the rest of us.
Yeah.
And when a regime, because that's what we're dealing with, attacks the most vulnerable of ours, trans people make up less than 1% of our population. Less than 1%. And they're attacking them. They're attacking them because trans people break their status quo.
Exactly.
A trans person says, I don't want to be the gender I've been assigned. I'm this gender. And that pisses off the men in power who use gender to subjugate everyone else. If someone says, you're born a woman, you have to do this, you have to do that. And someone says, I'm an American. I'll do whatever I want. And then all of a sudden, the people that are for small government and freedom have a problem with that. Explain that to me.
I would argue if it's even a step higher, they are afraid. They are afraid of a couple things. One, the more base level, surface level thing is they are afraid as men to do the absolutely disgusting hitting and talking to people and finding out they're talking to someone with male reproductive organs. That scares them. And then I think deeper down, I believe that they are afraid. There's a reason that they are so focused on calling trans people, saying that trans people have mental illness, because if they accept that they are who they are, then they need to completely not only look at everything that they have done and said beforehand, but they need to completely rewire how they view the world, because they have been taught, especially in the church, and they have been taught this one way of thinking. And now, and if they accept that everything they've been taught is wrong, their whole worldview gets completely crumbled.
I agree with that. And I think that falls under, it's going to be the sunk cost fallacy. So I think a lot of people put a lot of time and effort into this is the way the world is. And so they've sunk a lot of cost into that viewpoint. And this also applies to Trumpism and the MAGAs. It's the sunk cost fallacy. So they don't want to then take back, they have all their eggs in one basket. Okay. That basket's going to fall and break when he dies. That's it. Those are all the eggs they have. They don't have any other eggs in any other basket. So they're really hoping that this works out for them, because they can't turn tail and say, oh, well, I'm wrong now. They've dug in for years, right? And they would rather die on that hill than ever admit fault, than ever admit that you're wrong. Because when you're wrong in your brain, when you do or say something wrong, it's the same effect as if you've been physical pain.
Yeah.
Okay. That's why people don't like to be wrong. That's why people don't like to be called out. They don't like to admit that. That's why it's very difficult for someone who's been indoctrinated into a high control religion their entire life to even think about the possibility that this might not be right, because it's their entire sense of self is wrapped up within that ideology and that belief system. So by even criticizing that belief system, these people take that criticism as a personal slight against them as an individual. I'm not criticizing you. I'm criticizing the belief system that's harmful to others.
Sure.
But they take it as a personal attack, and then they attack me for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
but it's a sunk cost fallacy. They've sunk so much cost into it, they can't then turn around and be like, oh, never mind, I was wrong. They're literally going to ride this train until it crashes into the wall.
And Christian nationalism has just taken it even farther. I mean, you talked about how you grew really fast. My first video that caused me to grow the way I was I made a video. I got pissed that that all of these Christian leaders were like praising Trump as a Christian and all this other stuff. And I saw someone say, like, you can't be a Christian and vote Democrat. So I made a video that said I'm a Christian and I vote Democrat. And it exploded with 15 quadrillion comments from Christians saying how horrible of a person I am, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
And that's why that's why people are fleeing from the church.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
That's not what Christianity teaches. That's not what we're taught. I was raised Catholic, okay? That's not what we were taught. That's not what Jesus said, ever. And I don't have I say this all the time. Everybody knows I'm an atheo-pagan. So I identify as a witch. I always have. And there's so many Christian witches who follow me. I always tell them, you guys are valid. You're welcome here. People don't understand that just because someone there's 3,000 sects of Christianity. There's so many different flavors. So people think if you don't practice the way I do on this one, then you're wrong. And it's okay, that's the problem right there. Okay. That's not what Jesus taught. That's not what he taught. Yeah. Okay. It's not my way or the highway.
Yeah.
This is what he was leading. That's what it was. He broke bread with prostitutes. He broke bread with the disabled, with the homeless, with the vagrants, with the sick and the poor. And then we have these so-called Christian nationalists, which are just fucking Nazis, that want to deport people from a country that they themselves immigrated to.
Yeah.
What is going on here?
Yeah.
That's not even what the Bible says.
Yeah. So the reason I was going is because you were talking about how they've gone in on this one thing, as Christianity is gone, they've also taken, the Bible and put it up on a pedestal. The idea of the inerrancy of the Bible has made it so it goes just to this other thing. There's a reason that they fight back so hard when people point out that there are inconsistencies in the Bible, that
well, of course,
all of these other things. And there's a reason why I'm like, I will not say that the Bible is inerrant. I won't even say that the Bible is inspired. I will say the people that wrote what was in the Bible believed in God and considered themselves Christians or whatever they considered themselves at the time. But it's
Well,
still
the New Testament, yeah.
well, yeah, but
But the Old
the
Testament was Jewish, right?
was Jewish, yeah. But the people that decided what was in the Bible were just people. They weren't like
Right.
it's just so that's why that's why you're seeing especially Christian nationalists fighting so hard against anyone that speaks out against it, because not only do it's this idea that everything they have been taught could be wrong, and the pain of it, just like you said, is so frightening. They are so afraid to process that everything they've taught could be completely wrong, that it's safer and easier for them to just
Keep believing.
double down.
I actually would love to speak, because I know you do have a lot of Christian followers. I would love to speak to them if they're listening, right? So I think a lot of you, I get a lot of you in my comments. A lot of you say, I'm deconstructing. I still believe in God. I still consider myself a follower of Christ, but I don't consider myself a Christian. I get this all the time because they say, I don't want to be lumped in with these people. Like, that's not what I was taught. So I'm going to talk to you guys, okay? So I think I think we all know the Bible was written by men a long time ago, and what's in it is hearsay at best. Now, whether or not you choose to follow the teachings of the Bible or not, whether or not you consider yourself religious or spiritual, it doesn't matter. I think truthfully, if you know in your heart, regardless of what you believe, whether you believe in a God or gods or not, if you know in your heart, there's three things that I think you should always listen to: your head, your heart, and your gut. Okay. Now, sometimes those three things will disagree, and that can confuse us, right? Our head will tell us one thing, our heart will tell us another. Our gut is always going to be right, I think. But you should always listen to your heart. Okay. And if you know in your heart that you are a good person, that you do your best, that you do good, you don't need to go to church. You don't need to follow what your Mima says about Christianity. You don't need to follow what they said about this. You need to follow how you believe in your heart, whether you follow Christ or Buddha or Hecate. I don't care, whatever God you like. It doesn't matter. Spirit, whatever you want to call it. Source. That's what a lot of people say, God or source or whatever they want to say. You know in your heart what feels right. Right? And I think that a lot of the systems that set up teach us to ignore our own heart. It teaches us to ignore that and to listen to others. And I think that's the problem, is that people then don't trust themselves. They don't trust their own heart. So when someone's saying something to you and you go, I don't believe this. They're telling me it's right. And all these people around me are telling me it's right, but I don't feel that it's right. Listen to that. Don't listen to them. Listen to your heart. Okay. And that's the best advice I can give anybody, that regardless of their beliefs, regardless. And that's how I try to be. I want to do unto others as as you would have them do unto you, right? Treat other people the way that you would be treated. Be kind. It's free to be kind. It costs more time and energy to be an asshole than it does to just be nice. Okay? And that's what the Bible teaches, in my opinion. I'm not talking about the Old Testament where they told you to throw babies against rocks, I believe, Psalms 137:9, mind you. None of that. I'm talking like when Jesus said, love thy neighbor.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean love thy neighbor with an asterisk, except for gays and immigrants. And no, it said love thy neighbor, regardless of who they are. And people forget that. People forget, like, the main point is they say God is love, Jesus is love, and all I see from these people is hate. So explain it to me. Make it make sense. Because when I see the majority of people that are identifying as Christian and all they're saying is vitriol and hate and division, where did y'all learn that? Because why are you so filled with hate? What happened? Why do you feel that other belief systems or other people don't matter as much as you or your belief system? Like, where did that start? Because when I was growing up in the 90s, it wasn't like that. I don't remember people hating each other, whether they were or were not Christian. I didn't get any crap for not being, like I was raised both sides. So like my one side was Catholic and my other side was atheist. So I was raised both sides. I went to Catholic school. I got kicked out for asking the nuns too many questions. So then I went to public school after that. It happens, but
Far too often.
well, they don't like little girls that ask questions.
No.
In high control religions, do they?
No. They
Yeah.
sure
So
don't.
they knew that I wasn't going to make it through the full amount of school. They knew when I was young, and I'm glad. I'm glad that I grew up the way that I did. I got to see both perspectives and then I got to choose. But like I said, to the people that are listening, regardless of what you identify, if you do find yourself on my page, I have a lot of Christian witches who follow me, and I get a lot of people, there can't be Christian witches. No. You don't get to dictate someone else's lived experience.
Amen.
Period.
Amen.
Amen, if you will. Yes, blessed be what we say.
I've got Christian witches in our community too, so absolutely.
They're lovely. They're lovely. Usually they're just their deities are Christ, sometimes the Mother Mary, sometimes they work with the Holy Spirit. It depends on which sect of Christianity they believe in. Most of the time, those Christian witches, you know what they're doing? Blessing cookies and making protection, love prayers. That's what they're doing. Yeah. If you think that's evil, then something's wrong with you. Something's wrong with you. If you think someone putting their energy into their home, into their community, into their food, and they want to be kind, because that's what Christian witches are doing. I'm telling you, I know them. I'm friends with them. They're lovely. And they're ostracized by their own communities because they're different. And that's why I make the community that I make. Even though I'm not Christian, but they're welcome on my page, and I make videos about it all the time. You're welcome here, babes, and trust me, have fun in the comments, because there's lots of other Christian witches here, and they will help you, especially if you're deconstructing, especially if you're on a new journey. There's a place for you here. You are not alone. You are not alone.
See, everyone listening, you got 2 communities now that will support you no matter what, whichever one you're listening to. You know, the way I always look at it is, you know, my content, especially when I'm talking about speaking out against Christianity and speaking to Christians, is very much a, you know, whether we're talking Christianity, Buddhism, Judaism, Hindu, whatever, how we are, how we act, how we speak is a reflection of what we believe. That is my biggest issue with at least the conservative evangelical Christians, is they say one thing, but the way they act is completely 100%. Like, why would anyone want to be a Christian when you see people like Mike Johnson and whether or not Trump is a Christian or not, he's not.
Be for real. He couldn't even name a single Bible verse.
Or any of these other people that call themselves Christians, but support some of the most disgusting policies and actions I have ever witnessed in my life. And it's like, these are what people are seeing, and Christian leaders supporting this. And it's like, we as people need to live what we believe, whether you're religious or not. It's about, what do you believe? Well, if you believe that everyone deserves rights, respect, dignity, and safety, then live that way. Then friggin' live that way.
I just feel that Jesus in America has become some sort of white nationalist mascot. Sure. And I think too many people need to hear that, mind you, if Jesus was a real person, he would
be getting deported right now.
He was a dark-skinned Middle Eastern man who was Jewish. Okay? That's not an argument. He was from the Middle East 2,000 years ago, correct? He wasn't white. In fact, if you look at the depictions of Christ all throughout the world, they often project their ethnic visage onto him. If you go to Mexico, Christ looks Mexican. If you go to Asia, Christ looks Asian. If you go
to Africa,
Christ looks different in every country. So, of course, in America, we have white Jesus because white people can relate to white Jesus more. If they put a brown man with curly hair on the cross, do you think these people would be acting the way they would in his name? Because I sure don't. And I think that has more to do with it, that if Christ were here, A, they would deport him. And B, if he were here, he would be flipping tables.
For sure.
He would be flipping tables, because let me tell you, and mind you guys, even though I'm not a Christian, I don't have a problem with Christ. It's his followers. It's his followers that are the problem. Christ was seemingly great. You know, I'm sure he was a really cool guy. I would have hung out with him. I would invite him to my table now. I mean, I would just be like, hey, Big J, I couldn't afford wine. Could you help me out with the table wine?
Exactly.
I hear that
All I
you're
got
good
is
at
some
that.
water. Can you help me out?
Can you do it in front of everybody? Because that'd be really cool.
And yeah, and see that, and that's the part that always bugs me. You know, I went when I was thinking about what we were going to talk about, I wasn't planning on going here, but you know what? This is how podcasts always go. It never, I get through like 2 questions and then it just goes off into our own thing. That's the part that always bugs me is when people, especially when Christians say that like the Bible is proof of the Bible, or the Bible is proof of any of it.
Right.
And I'm like, look, no one alive has seen a burning bush that isn't burning and talks to you. No one alive has seen a pillar of flame that comes down and devours all the water and the stone because you prayed to it. No one alive has seen any of the things that are irrefutable. All of the things that have happened to people, regardless of whether they truly are miracles that God did or not, are things that each one of these people or groups of people have personally witnessed and decided that God was a part of it. And it's
so yeah, I love that you went here because I'm gonna love this. So one of the things that I bring up, especially, there's a lot of Christians who will fight you and say there were eyewitnesses to Jesus's crucifixion.
500. Yep.
There
Heard
were
that.
500. Okay, let's go here. First and foremost, in law, an eyewitness is the least credible witness because people lie. Secondly, the Bible was written years after Christ's death, right? So we got what? John, Mark, Matthew, and Luke, and then we got Paul. That's it. Those are the guys that are telling us everything that happened, right? And you're telling me a guy named John, Paul, Mark, and Luke were living in the Middle East 2,000 years ago?
Which
Come on, let's get real here.
And the reality is Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John, none of them actually wrote any of those books.
Right. That's the point. And then on top of that, this is the part that usually gets people because they say, well, I believe that those witnesses saw what they saw. Okay. 2,000 years ago, you know what we didn't have? Glasses. You know what we didn't have? Safe water to drink. You know what they were drinking? A lot of alcohol that was made with mead and barley and hops, things like that molded. Okay. That mold caused hallucinations. That's why people saw and heard things a lot in the past because they were literally loaded half the time and half of them could not see. Because do you know people wear glasses or contacts? I do. Do you know how many people back in the day did not have access to that? Did you notice that there's been no mermaid sightings since glasses were invented? Can you believe it?
I'm shocked.
It's almost like people were seeing things that they either were hallucinating or they just couldn't see that well, okay? And then they told someone, and then they told someone, and then they told someone else, and then someone told someone else, and then some guy told a guy named Paul, and then he wrote it all down. Okay, so we're playing a 2,000-year-old game of telephone from witnesses that didn't know where the sun went at night, didn't even know what the sun was, okay? So, and on top of that, mind you, every miracle that happened in the Bible, every miracle that happened in the Bible happened in one tiny region in the Middle East. One tiny region. And everything that happened also just so happened to be the epitome of what those people knew at the time and how their society ran at the time. Did you notice there was no predictions? Not like, oh, indoor plumbing is going to be big. They didn't tell us anything about that. Everything in the Bible was just so happened to be what those guys knew at the time and the stories they heard. And a lot of the other myths came from other myths. We know that the flood myth, the Noah myth, came from the Epic of Gilgamesh. We know that. It precedes the Bible. Same story. So we know these things now with science and the data that we have. So whether or not you choose to believe, no, I believe that it was a miracle, I believe that it was God, that's fine. That's your choice. That's a belief. But that doesn't reflect the data that we have. And that's okay. That's what religion is. If you choose to believe something, regardless of the data conflicting it directly, that's a choice. That's your choice. I don't have that choice, okay? My brain doesn't work that way. My brain says, well, the data doesn't say this. I can't then choose to believe something that my brain just says, nope, that's not true. So that's how it works. And I think a lot of people come at atheists that way. They say, well, you're choosing to be, no. It's not a choice. Belief is not a choice for us. If we could choose to believe that, maybe some people would, but it's not a choice for us. I think it's a choice for a lot of Christians to believe, which is why they think that we are also choosing.
Well,
But
yeah. Unfortunately, you know that it's partially a choice, because I have unfortunately witnessed a lot of Christians who choose to believe because they want to they want to, if heaven and God happen to be real, they want to make sure that they are a part of it. That's
I
the
think
only
that
reason.
I think the one thing that gets in the way for me with heaven, the whole heaven thing, is that to me, heaven was invented by men who wanted people to work for them and create their heaven on earth and then tell all the enslaved people, oh, you get to your heaven after you die. Just keep working for me. And I think that that's the thing, is that these preachers at mega churches, they're living their heaven right now, but their constituents aren't. Their constituents are suffering. And that's why I think that the whole suffering is like embraided into the religion, that people believe you have to suffer in order to live. A perfect God, if he could create heaven, why didn't he create heaven on earth? And if he did, and then he revoked it in the Garden of Eden because a child ate an apple, she was a baby. She didn't know any better. She didn't know right from wrong. They didn't know. And then you punish all of mankind because
Yeah.
that's not a good God.
Right.
That's not a good God.
No.
So if that is the God and everything's true, that's then not a God I would worship. That's not a good God. You have the ability to make heaven, and instead this is what you made.
Yeah.
And then you're mad at us over that?
Yeah. I've said that quite a few times, that if the God that Christian nationalists worship if I get to heaven and I find out that the God that the Christian nationalists worship is real, I will gladly go to hell, because
right.
no.
And I don't believe in either place, but
Right.
if I were to go to one, if I'm going to the place that they say I'm going to go to, all my friends are going to be there anyway. Like, what are you talking about? You're telling me that people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Donald Trump are going to be in heaven? I don't want to be there then.
You know, he ended 7 wars, so that's how he...
And he renamed the Department of Defense the Department of War.
Right.
So what are we doing?
And again, this is what I want to say to anyone listening, and I'm obviously not going to speak for Jordan here, but I'm going to speak for me. The fact is no religion can be proven true or proven untrue. It's the realities of religion. I mean, heck, faith is literally the belief in something you can't prove, that you can't prove. Regardless of what you believe in this world where you're living, live with humanity and empathy and love. That's all you friggin' got to do. And stop worrying about the rest. I don't care whether or not heaven or hell exist. Does not matter to how I live when I sit here and talk with anybody, and nor should it for any other person out there, especially for Christians, because that's who I can speak to the most. Just be a good freaking person, for God's sake.
My goodness, love thy neighbor, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It's not hard. It's really not. And I just feel like they've lost the plot. And I'm not speaking for all of them. I know that there are wonderful Christians out there. Hi guys, I know you're out there, and especially love to my Christian witches. I love you too. I know it's not all of you guys. I know it. It's the same as when we say men are the problem. When they go, not all men, not all men. And I'm like, we know it's not all of you. We know it's not all Christians, but it's a big portion of them, okay? It's a big portion, and the good ones out there recognize that too. They go, we know, we don't even want to be associated with them. Do you know how many Christians I've had that said, I've left my church? I left because of what they're saying.
Probably about as many as I have.
I've left. I can't do it. And they say, I have a relationship with God. I practice on my own. I've deviated from the church, and I feel better. And truthfully, I think, a lot of Christians get scared. They think of witchcraft and what I do. They don't understand that witchcraft to me is collecting tiny little rocks, collecting my cat's whiskers in a bottle. That when I see a full moon, I take time to honor the moon and say, wow, look how beautiful it is. Like, I think that shouldn't be scary to
Yeah.
anyone. And I think that they're taught that it is because they don't know. Ignorance
Because they
can
don't
sometimes
understand
be,
it. Yeah.
it can be scary, right? And you know, it's different than what you think or what you believe. That doesn't make it wrong. It just makes it different. So, you know, I think when people hear witch, they think of what media has taught them. And meanwhile, I'm just like, you guys see this tiger's eye? It's cool, right?
Very cool.
That's that's the that's what most witches are going to be like. Like we light candles on the solstice. We honor the seasons. We
Mm-hmm.
honor nature. We spend time with nature. Nature is my church. I've never felt more loved and more at home than I do when I'm in the woods. When I can hear the bird song and I can smell the trees and I can feel the earth beneath my feet. That to me is heaven. So when people say you're evil, I'm like, what's evil to you then? Because I that's worrisome to me that they would think that. They
Yeah.
think because I like shiny rocks and my cats and you know I have
Yeah.
a broomstick tattoo. Oh, you're evil, and I'm like, really? That that's evil to you? And that a lot of things, and I'll add this in. I know we're getting close to an hour, but I'll add this in. A lot of Christians are taught that atheists worship the devil. That's not true.
No, they don't believe the devil's real
We don't
either.
believe in the devil either. It's and I get that, you know, the devil is sort of, you know, the antagonist of your whole religion. Everything gets blamed on the devil. And this alleviates accountability for everyone else. Oh, it
Right.
wasn't me. It was the devil. The
It's
devil
if
made me
it's
do
good,
it.
it's
The
Christ. If it's
devil did
bad,
it.
it's the devil.
Right. And that's just that's so juvenile to me.
Yeah.
Like you're a grown man, you're blaming the devil that you cheated on your wife and not you. That was you, babe. That wasn't the
The
devil.
devil caused me to sin. Yeah.
Just say you're sorry and ask for forgiveness and say you won't do it again. But blaming your imaginary friend is
Yes.
like, that's what a
Yes.
kid does. That's what a kid does. That's what a second grader does,
I mean,
not a grown adult.
these are the same grown adults that are going, you know, their daughter or their you know, someone young comes up and lets them know that they were, you know, they were raped, and they go, well, what were you wearing, or what did you say? Like, these are the kind, it's the same kind of idiotic perspective that we have unfortunately grown to has grown to become the norm, which is really sad.
It is unfortunate, but I am seeing sort of this with so many Christians fleeing from the church. And now there are a lot of those Christians that are deconstructing from the religion altogether. Whether or not you identify as Christian, you still are Christian, you go to church, you don't, you're deconstructing, maybe you've left the faith. And the ones that I want to talk to are maybe the ones that are on their way, sort of leaving. I get a lot of you on my channel. I know it's scary. I know it's scary to leave everything you've ever learned and were taught behind. But there is a community for you too. Like whether or not you still believe or maybe you don't, that's okay. There's a community for you online. There are so many other people out there that are going through exactly what you're going through. I promise you can find them. And you are not alone. Okay? You are not alone. And I think a lot of people feel alone because they may be in a town where everybody sort of has the same
It's like
mindset.
500 people in the town, and everyone goes
Yeah.
to the same 2 churches.
Yeah. And there's little witches out there too. I see y'all. Even if you're still in the broom closet, you're valid. It's okay. Find your community online. We are here and we will accept you with open arms because our community accepts everybody. It's the paradox of tolerance. We only don't tolerate the intolerant.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Those are the only people that can't come. Everybody else is welcome, regardless of their beliefs. I have pagans that follow me. I have Christians that follow me. I have Satanists that follow me. I have other atheists that follow. I have everybody in there. And I don't judge anybody on what they believe as long as it's not affecting me or anyone else. As soon as it starts affecting legislation, as soon as it starts affecting other people's lives, then it's my business. And that's why I am so vocal. And I can be a little abrasive. I can be a little aggressive, but that's because I'm
I
reciprocating.
haven't noticed that at all, Jordan. You have been nothing but kind and quiet and accepting in everything you have said so far.
You know what I mean.
I do know what you mean.
I very much I know that a lot of people see me, and I've had Christians say like, you make me nervous. Like you make me nervous. And I think that I make them nervous because I'm sort of the antithesis of what they were taught a woman should be, right?
I think they also make you, I think you also make them nervous in the same way that I think I make them nervous, is they see someone who they have been told is evil. Like you are a witch. They've been told that's evil.
Right.
I am a Christian who doesn't believe in the inerrancy of the Bible, and that we should be listening to their pastor and everything they say and do. And those have been told to be the worst of the worst kind of things. But when they interact with us, when they see us talking, they see someone who's loving and accepting and everything they have been taught that Jesus was, and it freaks them out. Again, it comes back to it freaks them out. So what do? They double down on everything that they know.
I mean, you're exactly right. I definitely make them a little nervous, and that's okay. I think sometimes that nervousness that you feel when you're talking to someone of a different belief structure or a different culture or whatever you may be, I think a lot of these people don't actually get the time to be in a room with someone different. A lot of them are very segregated in these very small, very specific towns, that there really aren't any Muslims, or there really aren't any Jewish people, or there aren't any witches, or there aren't other people for them to communicate with. So the unknown is scary. And they maybe have never been around someone like me, or they've never seen a trans person or met a trans person. I have trans friends. They're people. They're wonderful. Like, they're not hurting anybody. And I'll tell you right now, I'd rather pee next to a trans woman than some of these other women. Like, they're mean. They're
Amen.
mean girls. They're attacking. Like, they're not hurting anybody. Everybody pees. They're not hurting anyone.
And I just want to finish with the one statement when it comes to trans people. The thing that always bugged me is, in a world that has treated members of the trans community as poorly as they have, this idea that any person would say they are trans without firmly believing that is who they are boggles my mind.
Yeah.
Because they, by just the very nature of them saying they are trans, saying they outwardly becoming part of that community, they are knowingly opening themselves up to danger and ridicule and just a bunch of stuff that a normal person should never have to go through. So if you see someone and says, oh, they're just trying to get attention, oh, they're all these other stupid things that you hear them say, shut up. Because there is
nobody does that.
There is no way they would be
Yeah.
willing to go through what they are knowingly going through if it was not deep down who they were.
Absolutely. And every trans person I've ever talked to, been friends with, are going to tell you the same thing. Like, this is who I am. I don't care what other people think. And I think the talk comes down to trans kids a lot, because they say, well, you shouldn't be doing this to trans kids. Here's the thing. When a kid is trans, okay, and let's say they're under 18, first and foremost, it should be up to the physician and the parents, period. Because the problem is that especially male to female transition kids, testosterone is a very strong hormone. When testosterone starts to come into their system around puberty, they can't then get rid of that, which is why male to female transition kids, it's better to temporarily block their hormones, because they kill themselves if you don't. They kill themselves. And if that was my kid, and my little boy came up to me and he was 14 and he says, Mom, I'm a girl, and if I can't be a girl, I'm going to kill myself. Guess what? Okay, then. Well, then what's your name then? Patricia?
Exactly.
Cool. Let's go get you the pills so you don't. Because I would rather have a trans daughter than a dead son.
Amen.
And people don't get that. These kids aren't cutting things off. They legally can't until they're 18, okay? So the hormones we go through puberty, everybody goes through it. Do you know how hard that is? If you are in, and even if it is a mental illness, Republicans keep voting against mental health care. Even if it were a mental illness, these people still need health care for that. And the treatment for that mental illness, for gender dysphoria, is HRT. That's the treatment for it. It's the medical treatment. So when the kid does turn 18, if you've gotten them the appropriate medical care up until then it's their choice. They can do whatever they want with their life and body, and that's the case with any kid. So if it's up to me and my kid comes to me and says, Mommy, I want to be a girl instead of a boy, and if I can, I'm going to kill myself, because trans kids kill themselves every day because they can't be who they want to be. Let me tell you, we're getting the medicine then. And that's no one's business but mine, my kids, and the doctor, period. And if you want to put your head in someone else's kid's business, then you better hope that someone doesn't do it to you, because they're gonna. If someone else tells you what you can do with your kids, why do you feel that you can tell other people what to do with theirs?
Amen.
And if it comes down to it, I would rather have a trans daughter than a dead son.
Absolutely. 100%
So,
agree.
and if you're a Christian and you think that a dead son is better, you got to reconsider yourself.
Yeah,
because you're supposed to love your kids no matter what.
You got to look
You
deep.
may not agree with them, you may not understand it, but you're supposed to love them and you're supposed to support them no matter what. Okay? And the information we have about trans kids tells us that it is safer to give them that medicine until they turn 18. If you don't, they go through puberty and they kill themselves. That's why it's so important. That's why. So I don't want to see dead kids ever. No one should. So my kid, if you want to call it a mental illness, you want to call trans, whatever, then get them the medicine for it.
Yeah.
That's the medicine.
Yeah.
That's the medicine. So that's my spiel on that. I hope if I even change one person's mind or even open their perspective, then I've done my job yet again. Because it's my job to protect, again, under my wings, all the people that are the marginalized group, and I keep them under my wings because I have that privilege that I'm using. And the trans kids fit under there too. We got to protect them too.
Amen. Yeah. Jordan, I honestly think we probably could be talking for another hour and without an issue. I appreciate you so much. And I appreciate what you do, not only for your community, but what you've done for me when I've seen your content.
Well, thank you so much.
And this is coming from someone who still is willing to call himself a Christian and is trying to fight against the rot I see from the inside, because we need
weaponization of the Bible.
We need it as much as we need people on the outside to speak up. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being so open about all of this.
Apologies for all the F words. I know I get a little overzealous.
You know what?
You can bleep them out.
People can kiss my ass if they don't like it. That's all I gotta say.
I'm rubbing off on him.
So yeah. So anyone who wants to check out Jordan, she's Jordan the Gray on all of the places. And thank you, Jordan, for being here. You're amazing. Everyone, make sure you follow her. And if you like what we do here, know that this community, this podcast is built on the platform of every person, no matter your race, religion, gender, or identity, deserve rights, respect, dignity, and safety. And if you are one of those people that believe that as well, please consider joining this coalition, join this community, whether it's mine or Jordan's. We're technically different communities, but you know what? We still fall under the same umbrella of caring about everybody. So please consider joining. Your support means the world. Like, follow, subscribe. We've got this, we've got a Substack, we've got Apple and Spotify. We're all over the place. So please, your support is what makes it possible for me to keep coming on here and making these videos. So thank you so much for everyone who does support on a daily basis. So thank you again, Jordan, and we will see you guys all on the next More Perfect podcast. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.